What is up, guys? Archon Tsunami here, bringing you guys another Overwatch video. In today's video, I'm going to have a guest with me.
Hello.
It's Captain Smiley. He's returning once more. And we're going to be talking about some of the Overwatch PTR changes, as well as the new hero Sigma. I want to apologize in advance. I'm playing WoW at the same time, so trying to get stuff done before I take off this weekend, get you guys this awesome video. Yeah. So let's go ahead and get into it. What do you think about Sigma?
I think he's really cool, and I'm excited for him in the game having another barrier tank. And he's pretty much like a hybrid between a main and off tank, and he can be played into like every situation.
Yeah, I can agree. I mean, like I said, I've had some time to play him on the PTR as of late, and it feels like he has a really high skill ceiling. And once you actually learn what you're doing with him, he might be, I think, maybe the best shield tank in the game. I think he's a little bit better than Orisa even, just because he has the ability to move his shield around.
Yeah, maybe.
And it's
I
not.
do think he's basically gonna be like my default shield tank pick, just because of my pure hatred of playing Reinhardt and Orisa. So it's nice having like a barrier tank that actually looks more playable, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely a lot smoother to play. He's more of a close range tank, is the only thing, more so I think than even Reinhardt. Just because his primary attack, he has no long range outside of, I guess you could say his meteor is, but it's so slow when it moves across the screen, and it's so clunky that it will hit something if you try to snipe somebody out of the sky, interestingly enough. There's also an interesting interaction with Bastion, where he knocks Bastion out of turret mode when he's hit by the meteor, or the asteroid, whatever you want to call it.
Isn't that intended?
Yeah, it's intended, but it's just an interesting interaction, because most stuns don't typically knock Bastion. There are a couple that don't knock Bastion out of his turret form.
I mean, it's the same effect as Earth Shatter, so I would think that it would take him out.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I know there's one or two that don't. Like Orisa's Halt doesn't. Does it even move the Bastion when he's on the ground?
I believe that it does.
Does it? 'Cause I could have swore once he's in turret mode, he can't be moved or knocked out of outside of stuns, I guess. And I know McCree's Flashbang doesn't knock him out of it.
Yeah. I am interested to see because a lot of the time, like on maps like Paris, like Ana's at the top level of play will have like nade spots that they throw to bypass the shield when people dive in. I'm sure that you could figure out something like that with the rock. I've already seen clips of people doing stuff like that with the rock. So you could throw that in, hits the bastion as soon as everyone dives in.
Yeah.
Sure, it would be significantly harder to set back up once everyone's in your face like that.
Yeah, I'm sure there's gonna be some crazy strats. Like I said, if you can actually learn how to play him, then it's just gonna be insane. Like I said, high skill ceiling. He's probably got the highest skill ceiling in the entire game.
I'm excited to see what the legendary skins he's gonna get are. I feel like that's a pretty dumb thing to get excited for, but my mic didn't cut out at all, did it?
No, that's. I'm trying to like doing wild things right now and just kind of killed myself again. Oh well. But yeah, Sigma is gonna be amazing. And you were talking about the skins for the patch that's gonna be with him, right? Or just the skins in
Yes.
general for Sigma.
Yeah, they haven't released any of the skins, at least to what I'm aware of, but I am excited to see what they do with it.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be some type. What do they say? What event he's gonna launch with, or is it just gonna be just him launching?
I think it's just him with all the PTR stuff launching at like September 1st, if
Not
I
really
remember
a
correctly.
holiday theme.
Yeah.
I mean, if well, I guess they already are doing the whole summer games thing right now.
Yeah, a lot of people thought they were gonna release them at Summer Games.
I could have seen them doing that. I think that's probably what the best thing would have been to do, along with roll queue and that. But September, it would be in between events, so it gives us something to do instead of waiting for the Halloween event. I believe that's the next one on the calendar, right?
I think so, yeah. So about the other changes, I think the Rhine one is super good.
the 30% reduction to being knocked back.
Yeah, I think like in our rule lock discussion video, that was something we talked about. How in a 2-2-2, Reinhardt just gets stomped on.
Yeah.
Now he actually has more of a chance.
Yeah, because the Doomfist would just leap in on him, knock him in the air, punch him away, and there was really nothing you could do.
Yeah, and there's also, I think it was labeled as a bug fix, but it also helps Ryan a lot more, where it made it that slowing effects can't stack. So if you're holding up your shield and you're getting shot at by like sim turrets,
Yep.
you're actually still able to move. Like it doesn't stack at all. Same with May freezing and holding up the shield.
Yep, that was the big change too. Like you can't, what is it? You can't slow yourself more than, or it has something to do with him holding his shield up. Like it can't stack on top of that anymore.
Yeah.
Because if that affects, it's the same thing for Orisa as well.
Yeah, and that's gonna be really helpful against May, because like once she's like running around you in circles, just freezing you, there's really nothing you could do except just shake your shield everywhere.
Yeah. I think it's gonna help more against sim turrets, but yeah. I'm pretty sure, like, if her freeze is more powerful than your slow, then you do start getting slowed by that instead. It's gonna be kind of interesting to see how that interacts with May.
Yeah. So, similar to Reinhardt, Brigitte got changed, and she's like an actual healer instead of like a DPS tank healer hybrid.
Yeah, and it's kind of interesting how they chose to go about that.
I think that they handled it pretty well.
Yeah, I think she's fine. She's now able to heal other people more frequently.
I feel like we were talking about the shield nerf is a little weird to me, just because it's gonna be super easy to break now, and you won't be able to use stun as much. At least if you're frontlining.
Yeah. And she won't, I think it's to prevent her from being played as a tank in the support role, as an off tank, a third tank, to kind of really put a nail into goats.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you could still run a type of goats with Brigitte having the shield strength that it had. You just do Ryan, Zarya, Brig, and then have another main healer and 2 DPS to complement it.
Yeah, that's something a lot of people talked about, how there'd be like a baby goats comp. I tried to think about what it might be. The only thing I could think of is like Ryan, Zarya, Sombra, Lucio Brig, and then some other DPS.
Whereas now they've pretty much put the kebab to that, and they do not like goats. They want it completely gone from the game.
Yeah. Which I'm all for, despite the fact that I've never even played it.
Yeah, it's not a healthy comp for the game. It feels really bad to go up against, too. And it really feels like there's nothing you can do against it.
Except mirror it.
Yeah. It's never healthy when the only counterplay to something is to do it yourself.
And then the sim changes are interesting, how you can place permanent teleporters. A lot of Symmetra mains were talking about how it's more of a nerf because you can't really teleport bomb, at least as often anymore. And that was like one of the more skillful required things in Symmetra's kit, so it made a lot of people pretty sad.
Well, yeah. I mean, there are good things from it and there's bad things from it. Basically, there's no longer the ability to just go, oh, well, I want to teleport here now and here now because the cooldown doesn't go until the teleporter goes. So if the enemy wants to, they could actually leave the teleporter there. And in some cases, I'm sure there's characters like, you know, Junkrat or something can throw mines down on it and then it's basically useless for the rest of the fight. Because they won't disappear. Does it disappear after death, do you know? Or does it persist through death?
What? Sorry.
Teleporter.
The teleporter dies after
Sim dies.
Oh, you mean after Sim dies? No, it stays after Sim dies.
So unless you swap to some other hero, you could actually, once you use the teleporter once, if you put it in a bad spot, like let's say you try to do like some type of, you know, smart play with the teleporter where you put it on point, you know, try to teleport a bomb, like you were saying, through, or teleport something else through. And if the enemy's smart, they don't destroy the teleporter. Sim is basically down an ability for the entirety of the match or until she swaps.
Yeah.
Reset it. That's.
And she can manually destroy it by pressing interact, like Torbjorn's turret and stuff like that.
She can or can't.
She can.
So at least I guess at least it doesn't work like that. I thought it initially she couldn't do that. I'm probably
And they also increased the range of the teleporter, so that opens up a lot more possibilities. One thing I've seen, like on Volskaya, like the two back high grounds, you just have a teleporter over there, and it's just a bunker alternating between both, and makes it very hard to counter. Trying to think of more significant changes. Hammond got, in my opinion, nerfed. That his mind spread out more.
Yep, that's an interesting. There was also a change where I think his mines don't activate as fast as they used to either.
Something like that.
Kind of interesting. They're hitting Hammond.
I am interested to see, like, of course, how Sigma fits into the meta. A lot of the comps that they Sigma based have been Zarya Sigma or Wrecking Ball Sigma, but he probably can fit into bunker, like on Paris. It's very obnoxious for a fair to like peek over the one building and just start firing rockets, and you can pretty much just put a shield over there, and she can't do anything until it's broken, and she can't go past the shield because at that point it's so easy for the like Bastion to just kill her. I know Sombra, I believe, got some kind of change to hack. I think it's either her hack or EMP hack is now less. Like the duration of it is less.
Yeah, it's something like that. I think the initial hack, just the ability, was lessened, and
And then I believe the casting time was like there's like more space between when you press Q and the actual EMP.
Yes, Sombra mains have said that's noticeable as well. Like it doesn't
I
just instantly go out. It takes a second and then it goes.
Yeah, and I do believe that's like intentional so that there's counterplay with like stuns and stuff.
Which is a good thing. Like Sombra is a fun hero to play, but terrible to play against. Same thing like with what Brigitte was.
Yeah, like Sombra right now is probably the most broken hero in the game.
And honestly, like if they just made it to where she didn't have infinite stealth, you can have infinite translocator or whatever. Just don't give her infinite stealth. She would probably be a lot more balanced. At least that's how I feel about it.
Most people just say that they want a more substantial nerf to hack or EMP.
There needs to be things with it being out of sight too. There's a lot of line of sight issues as well, where it'll
Yeah, I heard about that.
corners. And I've had times where I'll hold hack and it'll just break for no reason. Like I won't get hit. I'll just be in the corner and I'll be hacking my target. They'll be sitting still, and then it'll either because another target runs in front of me, or I don't know, for whatever reason it just stops hacking and it acts like the cast ends like it went through, but then it doesn't go on cooldown. I don't know if that's a bug or what.
Yeah, I don't know. Hope you don't mind if I talk about future heroes for the game.
Oh no, you're fine. We can do that too.
So Malga, which was originally what everybody thought we were getting, I believe was confirmed to be an actual character at some point.
Yeah, I think that he was supposed to have been the next hero, and then for whatever reason, I think it's because people speculated or by leak or something, they changed their mind and made Sigma. But I think the whole story was there, right?
Yeah, but they did I believe there was some kind of either leak or Blizzard confirmed that he would have some kind of shield, and which is confusing because now that Sigma's there, like I don't know what other way that they would implement a barrier mechanic into the game and have it still be unique. One way I could think of is that he has a little bit bigger than like a personalized shield so that you can still slightly help your teammates, but I'd imagine he'd have one like in front of him and he can still use his minigun through it. Kind of like a combination of Orissa's and Reinhardt's.
Do you think they may just rework his kit altogether?
They could also do that pretty easily, but I feel like some people might be bummed out about that.
He was supposed to be our Talon shield tank, right? That was supposed to be original. So I'm thinking what they might do is they might just rework him into something else to
possibly
offset that. I mean, what other role would you want him to be possibly if not a tank or a barrier tank?
I think he would only fit into either main tank or off tank. I don't know if you've seen it, but he's modeled off of the like heavies in the PvE missions. He's one of those people.
Yeah, I've seen a picture of him. He looks.
So he's gonna have two giant miniguns and like, I don't know if it was confirmed or if it's just speculation, but people were saying that how his gun mechanic is gonna work is that it has infinite ammo, but it has like an overheat mechanic, which I think would be really cool.
Nobody has an overheat mechanic, correct? Well, yeah, I guess nobody does, do they?
Yeah, no one does. I have seen people like make stuff like that in the workshop though, like somebody completely reworked Bastion to make him in turret form have an overheat mechanic.
Was there any characters in Overwatch's history that had an overheat mechanic? I want to say there was something, but maybe I'm thinking of a
Nope.
different game.
I don't think so.
Probably thinking of a different game then.
And I know other confirmed characters is Echo's been a confirmed one for a long time. And I know I'm pretty sure they confirmed Sojourn was gonna be one after the PvE mission.
Okay.
I don't know if you remember her, but she's like the lady that talks to you during Storm Rising.
Remember? Oh, I think I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, she was basically just the one telling you what to do through the mission, which I have no idea how she would fit into it or what she's gonna do, but should be interesting.
So while we're talking about like future champs, I guess it's got to be brought up. Do you think that we'll see them in Overwatch, or do you think that we'll see them in the sequel that they're working on?
I don't know. I kind of hope Overwatch. A lot of people have said that the sequel is really just going to be like a PvE expansion, going deeper into the story rather than it being like a full like sequel or replacement for the game. So something they can do is they can introduce a lot of those characters from the sequel and then move them over to the base game.
Yeah, I think what I would like to see is I would like to see like the sequel actually be, you know, the entire base game, but at the same time, but what I would like to see is something like that where they move all the characters over, maybe move the multiplayer as well. I would hope that they would talk about releasing it maybe for next gen, so that way Overwatch would be ported over to next gen, and it wouldn't feel like it's just a cash-in port.
Yeah.
I think that'd be a pretty good way to go about it.
I do kind of hope that it's not like a full on sequel, just personally.
I mean, like I said, what they could do is just have Overwatch 2 be like the PvE story content that they want to have it to be, and then from there you can add just like the base multiplayer game in as well, and just make it be for next gen consoles. So that way, Overwatch has a way to be on next gen. You have more content, so it doesn't feel like you're just buying the multiplayer experience.
Yeah. That does kind of make sense, but I hope that they just like for next gen that they just have them both up there and it's still like separate games essentially.
They could do it that way too. I think it'd be better because it'd actually give you like a story mode for Overwatch. So when you buy the port, it wouldn't feel like it was just a cash in.
Yeah.
Because I mean, Crash Team Racing came out with $40 for that, and I'm like the game itself. I'm sure I don't know if you've come in and watched, but I like the game. It's fun. It's just I don't see it being the $40 that they wanted it to be, and there's some content that feels like it's still missing. So it doesn't feel like it would be a good value, if you will.
Yeah.
If they would have added maybe like a new game on top of that, and you could just play all of it through, like all three portions, I think that would have been better.
Yeah, I could see that. Going back to like most of the hero changes though, if that's okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
With Rollock being added again, I still think Reaper really badly needs to be nerfed.
Yeah, I've seen some videos saying that Reaper is going to be broken in a 2-2-2 because some of his counters that you could switch to won't be able to be switched to because you have to rely on only 2 DPS and 2 healers. And
Yeah, and it makes a lot of like some of the changes make it really hard for some characters like Brigitte since she was changed. It's a lot easier for them to just break the shield and not have to worry about the stun and just be able to 1v1 her.
yeah,
Because that was basically her only win condition against the Reaper was being able to stun and then combo.
I mean, I don't know. I think with the 2-2-2 comp, you have more counterplay options, if this makes sense. It sounds like you're limiting yourself because you like said you're only 2-2-2, but at the same time, you now have more strategy. Because you know they're locked at 2, they can't go like triple support or triple tank or triple DPS or they're locked. So now the DPS you pick matters and you need to pick the DPS that counters the one that they pick. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean at the end of the day, it's pretty much just that low ladder people don't focus the Reaper when he's right in front of your face for whatever reason.
That too, yeah.
So Yeah, maybe the game just needs to buff everyone's like IQ, and it'll just fix all the problems.
Bug fix. People now actually aim at Reaper.
Yep, that's what we need. That fix Overwatch.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think in lower elos it's gonna ever get fixed because I don't think those people are actually understanding like the concept of the game and what the game's about.
Yeah. I mean, I think it would still make sense for him to be nerfed because he's really only good in the lower brackets anyway, and he's pretty overpowered in those. And then in the higher brackets, everybody knows how to counter him, and he's basically a throw pick.
I think it's fine for a character to have viability in some capacity. All characters should be viable in some capacity. So
Yeah, and I'm not saying make him just like absolute garbage, but like he just seems a little too broken in the ladder, and I don't think they can buff him to make him useful in high ladder.
you'd have to completely rework his kit.
Yeah, which I wouldn't really mind either.
Like I don't know what would you even do for a rework for him. Like you'd have to change his whole thematic because he's supposed to be what? In a way, he's kind of an assassin, right?
Yeah.
He's loud as all with the shotguns, but an assassin.
Yeah, I feel like it's also weird doing a complete rework since like he's such an iconic character and is in a lot of the cinematics and it shows off a bunch of his abilities and kit as well as they can in a cinematic.
Yeah.
So it would be weird to like completely throw some of that out and just give him new stuff. I think a simple nerf to his lifesteal would be enough to just make him more counterable in lower ladder.
Again, that's the problem though. Like it would kill his viability in the upper tier, and the only reason he's any good is because he can survive off of his lifesteal in the upper tier. So there has to be some nerf that you can give him that makes him still okay in low tier, but at the same time also viable in the upper tier. Like that middle ground, there has to be something.
Yeah, it's a tricky situation.
I'm not sure what you would do to make him actually viable in the upper tier.
Yeah, I don't know how you would rework him too, because his abilities are like pretty much go exactly how they should with like his look and everything like that. So I couldn't imagine him having anything else.
I wonder if maybe for higher play, the viability would be in that the enemy team is going to focus him down. So maybe you pick something that you know takes time to ramp up in order to get damage, like Symmetra maybe with Reaper. So that way, while they're focusing down the Reaper who's trying to kill them, you can have Sim ramp up and deal a bunch of damage.
Yeah.
The focal point of being attacked, killed, something like that, or even a Bastion maybe. I don't know. There's got to be something. Maybe he's fine the way he is in the upper play and they're just not playing him right. I know that can be a thing too where people get in the mindset that, oh, well, he can only be played this way, so it's not going to matter what we do.
I'm sure it's like that to a certain extent, but like Reaper just doesn't have that high of a skill ceiling and he just doesn't like I feel like Diamond is right around like where he's still okayly viable, but after that he's just useless.
I don't know. I think his skill ceiling it's not. I'm not gonna say it's like insanely high. It's not gonna be like Sigma levels of high, but I do think that there is something there.
I know a lot of people like to say he has like no skill ceiling and that he's just a brain dead character, but I think there is a lot of skill aspects to him.
Yeah, there's being able to use your Wraith walk at the right proper time, hang on to it until you actually need it. That's his high. That's what the skill ceiling is that you're supposed to use your Wraith walk as counterplay.
Yeah.
And I don't think a lot of people do that, and either that or they just don't think about it.
And that and in lower ranks, just with not only like just not focusing down the Reaper, a lot of people don't put when they do focus him down enough resources into killing him. Like sometimes Annas are very hesitant to use their anti-grenade, and that can completely shut him down or at least force him out.
But yeah, it forces the Wraith form in that.
Yeah, and going to the other DPS, I know Doomfist and May have both people that have like spiked up in a lot of like their play percentages.
Yeah.
I forget the term for it. Playtime. I don't know why I forgot that. But yeah, Doomfist is being really good, which I like because I play Doomfist a bit. And I kind of hate May, but I mean, there's nothing you can really do about it. I mean, she's like a super annoying character, but I actually think she's like fairly balanced.
Yeah, May's not too OP or underpowered, really. I mean, once you're in her zone, I mean, you're pretty much going to lose. It's kind of like Reaper. Once you're in his zone, you're going to lose.
Yeah. And then excluding like Sigma comps, it's mostly going to be run as what I've seen a lot is like a bunker double sniper has become very popular. Yeah, Hanzo and Widow, I believe, are the two. And Bastion bunker is always going to be a thing. I'm sure that dive is still gonna be a thing as it's an answer to bunker. You just go in with like a nano blade EMP and it shuts it down. And then I really like even with the Ryan buffs, like I feel like he's still just not gonna be that good. He's still gonna be pretty unplayable, especially in 222.
The Ryan buffs we'll have to see. It's gonna be interesting.
I mean, like I'm sure like the comp is gonna be run, but I just don't know. I just couldn't imagine it being as good as any of the other comps.
I'm kind of curious why people aren't going to run Ryan Zarya anymore. I mean, it still gets Zarya her ult charge, and you still get your Graviton pretty quick. And with Reinhardt not being knocked, a mile out of the fight, your bubble's actually going to matter now, and it's not going to be knocked behind you to where you have to then bubble to yourself or
Yeah.
gotta defend your team.
But honestly, I do feel like Sigma's is just better than Ryan because he can move his shield a lot more. He's more mobile. He can dish out more damage from mid range instead of having to get right in their face, which just isn't gonna work against stuff like dive and bunkers.
I could see that. I mean, I think Sigma, like I said, is going to be the mid range, whereas Orisa will be long range and Ryan will be your short range tank for the most part. I'm kind of like that.
Yeah, just short range seems super unplayable because dive is just gonna get out of there if it gets too tough for them. They're pretty much just gonna ignore the Reinhardt and go for the squishies anyway, and then you're just never gonna get an opportunity against bunker, at least if they're good.
And the other thing about Sigma is that he can actually, if he ricochets his ammo correctly, you can bounce it over top of the shield. So let's say Numbani, you're underneath on the point and they're up top right by that door and chilling up there with a Bastion. You can actually back up a little bit, put your shield up, and then just aim at the top of above them and just shoot up, and it'll shoot straight down on top of them.
I believe just because his basic shot does an area of effect damage that you can just shoot it over Reinhardt's shield and it does damage. Like it doesn't even need to ricochet.
Yeah, that would require precision though, and actually knowing the range. Once you learn the range, yeah, you could do it that way too. It feels kind of weird to fire with him once you start doing it because he's like I said the first hero in Overwatch that actually has a primary fire that doesn't just go all the way off into the void. It actually stops.
Yeah.
And once people learn that range and understand where to stand and all the other things that go with it, I don't think he'll be as bad. I think he's probably got the highest skill ceiling in the entire game.
I don't know if I'd say that, but I could definitely see him having a pretty high skill ceiling.
Well, the reason I say that is because his absorb absorbs ult, so it's like a defense matrix. He has the ability to reposition his shield whenever he wants with no cooldown. So it's very important to be able to pull your shield from where it's at and then reposition it properly up against a wall, and also learning how to position the shield so another Sigma or Junkrat grenades don't slide underneath it, because that's going to be a big thing. I was having issues on the PTR with getting his shield actually low enough to the ground, aiming, just dead center.
Yeah.
And a lot of other Sigmas were having that problem, so what I would do is I would just shoot underneath them. And then you have his knockback stun, which is interesting to aim, and it does clip the environment more times than not, it feels like, because the hitbox on it.
Yeah.
So I do think he has probably the highest skill ceiling, plus the ultimate. If you know what you're doing with that and you just pick up like an individual player, because you can actually do that too. You can actually just pick up one player. You don't have to pick up the whole team. And there are some advantages to that, like if they have a Bastion and you don't want to like have the Orisa be in front of the Bastion when you pick them up to like have maybe your Widow snipe them or your Hanzo shoot a dragon into them, you can just pick up the Bastion individually and, snipe him, kill him, and go in.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely think he's going to be one of the higher skilled heroes. It's going to be interesting to see the combos as well.
With his ultimate, I've seen a couple combos like they throw a Diva bomb in and then use your ult, or ulting them above an Orisa shield for high noon. And also imagine like any kind of damage buff is going to be broken with him because he already does like 160 damage on hitting both orbs. And I believe Baptiste thing just straight up doubles it because
Yes, it
Fire
does.
Strike can one shot.
Yeah,
So he's gonna do the 424 and just be able to one shot like any squishy.
yeah, it's pretty nasty with the Baptiste ult if he can get it right. Even shooting the meteor through it is a lot of damage. The meteor's like what, I think 100 damage.
Maybe I'm not sure the exact numbers.
Pretty sure
I
it's
don't
100.
I don't know the exact percentages of how much nano boost or damage boost for Mercy does, but I'd still imagine that you do like a sizable chunk of damage.
I think it's a 0.5 multiplier. So where like if Widow gets it, I think that on a headshot, I think it's like 200. Well, no, not 200. Sorry, not on a headshot, but my bad. On a body shot, I think it's over 200.
It might be. I don't know. I don't play Widow.
I'm just trying to think. I'm pretty sure it's over 200 because it's 120, or maybe it's 170. Maybe it's only a 50 damage increase. It's something close to that though. It's a really noticeable amount. I think it's like 50 because you can one-shot somebody. I do know that if you have like a Mercy and a Zen and they get discorded, I'm pretty sure Widowmaker one-shot body shots.
Yeah.
And I know Discord is the same thing. It's like a reverse damage boost for the whole team instead.
I am extremely glad that they took away the Moira buff.
The one that lets you get out of stuns.
Yeah, like as somebody who, for the majority, if I can, play Hog, like it would just be super obnoxious.
Oh yeah, because if you got hooked, you could just fade while hooked, right? And just get away from him.
I'd be with any stun, it would be, I think, Sleep Dart, I know Shatter, the Rock from Sigma, all the stuns like Flashbang and Shield Bash, Hook. I think it's pretty much everything. And it just made the hero so much more skillless and gave like unnecessary amounts of like survivability. Like she was already like a decently mobile character, and that was the reason. That was the reasoning for adding it, was to make her feel more mobile.
So what? Wait, was it a bug or was it an actual buff?
It was an actual buff they added in.
Wasn't it under the bug fix category though, or was it just reverted?
It was just reverted. But when it was added, I know it was listed as a buff.
Okay. I can't remember if it was a bug fix or a bug when I was looking at the patch notes.
I mean, could you imagine if Reaper had that for his fade? He'd literally just be unkillable.
Yeah, Roadhog would hook him and then he'd just pop a Wraith and just laugh it off, or McCree would pop Flashbang and he'd just Wraith shoot him in the face.
Pretty much just have to have a team where everybody could stun him to have any chance. I don't think there's too much else to touch upon.
Not right now. I'm sure. Wow, when would you want to do another video? I guess would be the next thing to go to.
I think if any major patch notes come out or when it gets released.
That way, at least people out there watching have an idea when we'll be back with some more Overwatch content. I might do some more on my own. It's just I got a lot of other things I'm working on. I'm getting ready to get back on Twitch because we've been data capped for about the last week and a half now. We're at like 96%. It sucks.
I know there's also been a bit of workshop changes. Like they've added a bunch of new codes, but I'm not sure on all of them. It's also interesting because I remember, because we had planned to do the custom hero tournaments and stuff like that, and we were talking about how new shield mechanics would work. I had suggested Sim's old shield as an ability, and now we have that. I couldn't remember. Could Sims be placed in every direction, like up and down and everything like that?
It could be, but it didn't let you manually place it. What it would do is it would just project out slowly, or kind of fast. But yeah, you could aim it anywhere you wanted to. It would just shoot out on its own.
Yeah, I think that's it for everything we cover.
So yeah, that's actually a big video, guys. A lot of patches, a lot of notes, a lot of discussion, a lot of bug fixes. That's gonna be real interesting to see where the meta shapes up. It's gonna be really fun to watch Sigma in pro play. I think there's gonna be a lot of use for him. Even if you ran him as an off tank, you could run him as a D.Va even. Do you think he actually might replace D.Va in the meta? Just because he does have a defense matrix type ability?
That's what a lot of people are saying. Now, if a bunch of DPS get like super popular, it's fairly good, like a fairly good chance that D.Va will come back. Just because it's a longer defense matrix and it can be used to actually help people instead of it being more personalized.
Well, I think with the changes to his absorb and his shield, where now you can actually shoot the shield out while absorbing, it's almost like having a double negation if you think about it, because If you pull your shield, bring up your absorb, and somebody's in your face, you can drop a shield directly in front of you, and then you can do the whole Winston shield dance where you move in and out of your shield. Deploy it again if you need to. So I still think he's got more to offer than D.Va in that regard.
Yeah, I mean, unless D.Va gets buffed in some way, I'm sure Sigma's just pretty much gonna replace her. That's what a lot of people have said.
He already out damages her, I think. Like his burst damage is pretty crazy. If you hit him with a meteor and then hit him with 2 of the orbs, it just annihilates people.
I do think D.Va, like, when she uses her combo of the jet boosters, rockets, and her primary fire, plus a melee at the end, like, still does just a ton of damage.
Yeah, and it still comes, I guess, pretty fast, but you have to be like right on him for that, because otherwise her primary fire falls off pretty quick. Whereas Sigma, I'm sorry, what was that?
Yeah, and it's a lot of cooldowns to wait for.
Yeah, not to mention that they can move during her combo to dodge and do all sorts of stuff. But if they get hit by the meteor, they can't really do much.
Yeah.
But okay, I guess with that, guys, that sounds like it's probably gonna be the end of the video. Like I said, we'll definitely probably come back when the patch hits all systems, PC, PS4, Xbox One. We'll come back and we'll talk and, maybe do a couple days of the role queue, see how that works out, how that feels on live. Because not a lot of people can play the PTR because PS4 and Xbox One don't have access to it. So it'll be pretty interesting to see how role queue works on the different systems, what the queue times are going to be, and especially in different rankings and that. So maybe I'll do a video discussing that and if.
Yeah, I love that they did awards for it though.
Yeah.
Like they'll have stuff like loot boxes and earning money for playing a specific role.
That's a good way to get people into trying something new too that they otherwise wouldn't have tried.
Yeah, and it doesn't even harm your game since it's all different SR for each role.
Yeah. As always, here I'm gonna go ahead and I guess do our outro. Captain Smiley here. We'll be back, like I said, with the next Overwatch video. We'll be back probably next month, roughly, with it. That's, I think, when the patch is coming out, like I was saying. So for me, guys, I am going to be back on Twitch this week, starting tomorrow, actually. Or if this is uploaded Thursday, starting today. If you want to go down below, hit the link. It should take you to our Twitch page. Hit that follow button. And when I go live, I try to update the Discord as well if you guys want to join the server. We're trying to get a community around. It's still not too big. It's only a handful of people, but I definitely want to get something growing there. We also have an Overwatch Workshop page where if you guys want to put in codes, share codes with other people, we can do that, and hopefully you guys will enjoy the other modes that other people make. Trying to think if there's anything else. I think that's it for everything there, and then I guess we also have the Twitter as well where I'll tweet. I'll try to keep you guys updated on what's going on here. I know this weekend I'm going to be away. For sure this weekend because the video will be uploaded before the weekend. That's the plan. So I'll be home, I think, Sunday evening, so I'll be back on Twitch. Probably do some Xenoblade Chronicles 2 for a little while. Trying to maybe do weekends where I do JRPGs. I think that's a fun way to go. And then throughout the week, maybe sprinkle in some, trying to think of what it, Teamfight Tactics, some Overwatch. We'll be doing WoW on Tuesdays and Thursday evenings. Stuff like that. So nothing's really changing. It's just weekends I'm going to probably dedicate to JRPGs. Like Xenoblade Chronicles 2. I'm going to be doing FF8 again when that comes out. So, yeah. Be on the lookout for that. Maybe even learn how to speedrun Final Fantasy VIII. Cause it's one of the games I definitely want to learn. I learned 7. I've done 9 a couple times on the channel. And 8's the only one I haven't ever really bothered to learn. So, with that, guys, for my co-host Captain Smiley, we will see you guys in the next Overwatch video. And I will see you guys on the next video. And that will probably be a World of Warcraft a year-end review for BFA. So, thanks for watching, guys, and like I said, catch you guys in the next video. Later.